All right, highlight time. Not going to use foul language, but I'm going to get a little edgy to make a point, drawing some good metaphors and analogies. What's the goal to any trade? Well, first to get it to go your direction and then reach some sort of target. If you're short, you think it's going down. If you're long, you think it's going up. How quickly does it go down or up is important. That's the definition of good location. That's your goal. You're also going to have competition. If you're short, what's your competition? Other shorts. If you're long, what's your competition? Other long. So let's say people in my generation might understand this, but you're a man and you're looking to meet a girl and you go to bars or nightclubs. That's where we used to have to meet them back in the day. And so that's your goal. You go into a bar, bunch of guys there. Maybe not the best location. All right. That's being short with a bunch of shorts. So we're not going to even try at that place. We're going to go to another location. Now, this location has more girls than guys. All right. Next, you still got to qualify. You still got to take your steps, ready, aim, fire. So if you're in the right location, that might be ready, aim. You found a girl that you might like, sit next to her and say, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" Now, if she says no and slaps you upside down, I almost swore there. If she says no and slaps you across the face, that's like getting short and it rallying 3 points before you blink your eye. It's like getting long and having 8 ticks against you, right? As soon as you get long, before you put your order to get out, boom, take it 2 points of heat. That's what that is. Or she says, sure, no problem. You have a drink, buy a drink, you say hello, and then a little bit on in the conversation, she goes, my friends are over there, I'll be back. So she walks away. Now, that could still mean a good location, but not as probable anymore, right? You're not sure if that trade's going to work. So we'll move a little forward on the chart. However, let's say the next example is she says to you, hey, listen, I don't have a ride home. Would you mind driving me home? All right. You're putting this trade on. It's starting to go a little bit in your direction. In this case, you got a triangle here, 500 paint triangle, which is showing you that, where's my pen? That there's more people want to sell it than want to buy it. That's bearish. You're also getting a laser that's green. That's actually showing, like we said earlier, less competition. If you're short and this is red, that means you have competition, but you don't. Right now, you got your trade asking you for a ride home. All right. So then take her home. You're a gentleman. Take her to the porch, plan a kiss. That's the trade, even getting even closer to that target. And then she says, hey, would you like to go up for a nightcap? Now, that goes all the way down to your target, pretty much. Then there's someone banging on the door, and she goes, oh my goodness, that's my husband. You didn't tell me you were married. Now you got to get out. Now you got to get out. The trade was a winner, but you got to get out or it's going to be a scratch or scratches. So we got that too. You had the qualifier to get in, green laser, pink triangle, qualifier to show you that it's going in the right direction. And we talked about this in real time also with the buyers that were down in here. We said, there's an inventory of buying with these green lines are icebergs. If they go away and it can kind of get below 90 and you don't see these icebergs continuing, then they're really going to roll it lower. But a funny thing happens. The bang on the door is these shorts coming in right in here. See this red line and these red bars in the profile? That's competition. That's that dude banging on the door, and she says, you got to get out. Now it goes back green, means maybe you got out of the window, but it goes red and stays red at some point right there. The first flip from green to red was right in here, and you could see me drawing that teacup bottom. It's exactly what it ended up being. Went all the way back to and through where you would have got short. So if you were greedy with this trade, you got caught literally by being greedy. And that is kind of using that analogy for what a good location is, what the trade's looking like. I always say the number one thing that's going to tell you you're right or wrong is price. The number one thing, the first and number one thing that's going to tell you you're right or wrong in a trade is price. You got to take a shot and you got to watch. And if you have good tools, then you're going to take shots in better locations. And then you're going to watch for signals that you are on the right side. Again, price is going to tell you you're on the right side because it's going to go down if you're short. But the first clue was, hey, there's a bunch of sellers here who want to sell it versus want to buy it. And boom, I'll pause it. 500 and whatever, 56 or something. That's a big number. And so you had to be bearish, number one. And then you went green here. And then you take a shot. If you're bearish, you take a shot. Here's another thing with a little vision that people have when they've learned to read a chart a certain way. This market's jammed up in this range. You could see it in this yellow box here, right? So it's stuck in this range. It tries to get out and then rolls back down. That's like a mini head fake. So you anticipate that. So it's not just the pink triangle and the laser going red to green, but it's the head fake of, hey, we're going up. No, we're not. And that shakes out generally a lot of your competition. That's like a whole busload of guys have to leave to you're at a bar and a whole bunch of guys had to leave to catch a bus or something. That's this head fake up, and then it comes back in. You shook out what? Weak shorts in this case, in that pattern. When you're stuck in a range and you go up and then come back like that, that's a head fake. In this case, you shook out shorts, so you have less shorts. You have less shorts, you have less buyers below. You have less buyers below, the price is going to go down in a much more easier fashion. Less shorts, less buyers, and round we go. So I hope that helped kind of tying things together because it's all about being right, being wrong, making money, losing money. And when you draw it with the biology of it all, you pull those emotions in. And I think it makes this a little bit more easier to understand. Have objective tools. Now, I can't help you on the metaphor side of this, but there are tools to be friendlier and more likable, to find what? Better locations. And by the way, the easiest and most simplistic, if that's your goal, is to meet a girl, and you're going to do it in a bar. It's pretty simple to say, don't go to bars where there's 70% guys.